Hi everyone, how are you? We're going to look at where to stay in Lisbon, which are the best neighborhoods to stay in, spots, and hotel tips that are in the best locations in the city. The historic center is the main area to stay in Lisbon. It's the most central, historic, and touristic, and it's divided into several neighborhoods. The historic center is divided into Baixa, Chiado, Bairro Alto, Cais do Sodré, and Alfama. At the transition from the historic center to the newer part of Lisbon is Avenida da Liberdade, which is an amazing location to stay. And a little farther from the historic center, you'll find hotels with better value for money and easy metro access to the historic center, here in the area of Praça do Marquês de Pombal, here in Avenidas Novas, and also here in the Arroios neighborhood. Much farther from the historic center is Parque das Nações, which is the most modern area of Lisbon and has several attractions that we'll take a look at later in the video. These 13 numbers you see on the screen are the hotels we'll be looking at throughout the video, and they are in the best locations of each of the neighborhoods we'll cover here. You can see more details, photos, and information about the hotels through the QR code on the screen, as well as the links in the video description and in the first comment. We also have another list with 5 budget hotels in Lisbon, which are very affordable hotels, located very close to metro stations. You can also view the list of these hotels using the QR code, and the links are also in the video description and in the first comment. So let's start here in the historic center, right in the heart of the historic center, which is the Baixa district, which is roughly this area here. So Baixa is the heart of Lisbon, the heart of the historic center. It's the most touristic neighborhood, the busiest, and the one with the best infrastructure in the historic center. There are plenty of hotels, public transport options, as well as shops, businesses, bars, and restaurants. It's a neighborhood that's busier during the day and a bit less so at night, but there's still quite a lot of activity. And here in Baixa there are several attractions. The Baixa area stretches roughly from here, from the Rocio area, where you'll find Rocio Square and the Rocio train station, Aladaz, all the way to Praça do Comércio, which is located in this area here, on the banks of the Tagus River. So this entire Baixa area has several streets and pedestrian shopping avenues, but the most famous being Rua Augusta, with lots of shops and souvenir stores, bars, restaurants. It port a very lively area. One advantage of staying in Baixa is that it's a flat area. It's the flattest part of the historic center. It was leveled after the earthquake that struck Lisbon in 1755 during the city's reconstruction, so that makes it much easier for you to walk around and explore this area. Let's start here with accommodation 1, which is located on the edge of Baixa, in the area very close to Rocio Square. So, Rocio Square is here, and here is the Rocio train station, which is one of the main stations in Lisbon from where trains depart to Sintra and Queluz. The Rocio metro station is here, it's on the green line. With it, in one stop you reach the Baixa Chiado station, and in 2 stops you get to Cais do Sodré. Right here, next to accommodation 1, is the starting point of Wood Tram 28, which is the most famous streetcar in Lisbon. So let's take a look here at accommodation 1, which is the Hotel Mundial. It's a hotel rated 8.5 on Booking, 4 stars, and it's one of the largest hotels in Baixa, okay? So it's a hotel that's a bit bigger than the ones you find here in Baixa. In Lisbon's historic center, most hotels are smaller, compact, and located in historic buildings, but Hotel Mundial is a bit larger. The nice thing is that it has a restaurant with a panoramic view of the city, okay? So it's really cool. It also has a rooftop with a bar and a beautiful view of Baixa as well. Right next to it, you have Alfama and the São Jorge Castle. So it's a big hotel, it has a bar, it has a restaurant. Here is the restaurant with the panoramic view. And here is the rooftop as well with a bar. And here, look, this is the Hotel Mundial, so it's one of the largest hotels here in Baixa. This area here is Baixa, which is known as Baixa Pombalina. Here is Praça da Figueira, and this is where the Rocio metro station is, which is very close to the hotel. Here is Rocio Square, and here is Commerce Square, and in the background, the Tagus River. So it's a fantastic location for you to stay in Lisbon, and you can check prices, see more photos, and get information about Hotel Mundial through the QR code on the screen, as well as the links in the video description and in the first comment. So continuing here, still in the Baixa area, we're going to accommodation number 2, Yambo, which is right here in the very heart of Baixa, okay? It's perhaps the best area to stay in Lisbon, which is the heart of Baixa. Look, Rua Augusta is here, so it connects the Rocio Square area with Commerce Square. Here is the Rua Augusta Arch, so this whole area is a profusion of bars, restaurants, shops, and lots of activity, okay? And accommodation number 2 is really close by. Let me zoom in. Accommodation number 2 is here, Rua Augusta is here, and the accommodation is right on the corner of Rua Augusta. And in this area is the Baixa Chiado metro station, which you can access either from Chiado. So here, look, is already the higher part of the historic center. And here is Baixa, which is the lower area. So from accommodation number 2, you can access the Baixa Chiado metro station from here, okay? Then you go up the escalators until you reach the station here, which you can also access from Chiado. And the cool thing is that you can use this to go up to Chiado without taking the metro. So you can access the metro station here from Baixa and exit at Chiado, which is the higher part of the city. And you come out here, look, at Largo do Chiado, at Praça Luís de Camões, which is the heart of Chiado, and Bairro Alto, okay? So this access from accommodation number 2 is really nice. Now let's take a look at it here. So it's the My Story Hotel Augusta, rated 8.9, fabulous on booking, a 3-star hotel that's right here in the heart of Baixa. Look, this is Rua Augusta, okay? Here is Praça do Comércio, and here is the Rua Augusta Arch. So the hotel, in a certain style, it's located in a historic building that was restored after the earthquake in the 18th century. But inside it has a somewhat more modern, renovated atmosphere. So here is Rua Augusta. The rooms then have a somewhat more modern look. So here in Baixa, there are several pedestrian shopping streets, and the hotel has its own restaurant and also a bar, okay? So this is really nice as well. So it's a fantastic location right here in the heart of Baixa. And still here in this area, accommodation number 3 is right next door. It's a more affordable option also in the heart of Baixa, and it's the Draft Hostel and Rooms. It has a rating of 8.4 on booking, yeah? And it's a hostel with both private and shared rooms, nah? So it's a very budget-friendly option, here in Baixa. Here's a photo of tram 28, which passes very close by as well, right near accommodations 2 and 3. Here are the shared rooms. The hostel has a shared kitchen and also offers private room options. So you can check the prices and find more information through the QR code on the screen, as well as the links in the video description and in the first comment. And over on the blog article, in the Where to Stay in Lisbon post on the Dicas onde Ficar blog, you'll find a more extensive list of hotels in Baixa, as well as in all the other neighborhoods here in Lisbon. Now we're heading to Chiado, which is located a bit higher up, here in the historic center of Lisbon. So Baixa is here, and Chiado is this area. It goes up to about here, okay? So Chiado is one of the coolest neighborhoods to stay in Lisbon. It was a rundown area a few decades ago, but it has since been revitalized. So now there are many galleries, museums, bars, and restaurants. It has an excellent location for exploring the historic center as well. You can go down to Baixa from here, even using the metro station. Down this way is Cais do Sodré, and up above is Bairro Alto. Bairro Alto and Cais do Sodré are the 2 main nightlife areas in Lisbon. So Chiado is situated between them and is also a historic neighborhood with several attractions. The heart of Chiado is right here in this area, which is the Luís de Camões Square, and also the Largo do Chiado. Here you'll find the Carmo Convent, where the Santa Justa elevator is located, which also goes down to Baixa from here. And what's special here is that the Baixa Chiado metro station, which is right here and accessible from both Chiado and Baixa, is the only one in the entire historic center where 2 metro lines pass through. So there's the green line where in one stop you reach Cais do Sodré, and in one stop you also get to Rocio Square, and there's the blue line that comes from Restauradores Square and goes all the way to Terreiro do Passo station, right next to Commerce Square. So you have two metro lines here to get around the whole area, right? As well as tram lines. Also, you can use ride-sharing apps like Uber to get around this area. So let's take a look at the fourth accommodation, which is right in the heart of Chiado, at Luís de Camões Square, which is on the border between Chiado and Bairro Alto. So it's a fantastic location to stay, and it's the Solar dos Poetas, a 3-star boutique hotel with a fantastic rating of 9 on Booking and very well reviewed by guests. So this is Luís de Camões Square, okay? This photo was taken from the Solar dos Poetas Hotel. It's not this hotel here. The photo was taken from the Solar dos Poetas Hotel. So here is Luís de Camões Square, here is Largo do Chiado, and the Baixa Chiado metro station is right here. And it's a hotel for those who want to stay in a boutique-style hotel in a restored old building. Okay? It's very cozy. It has a bar, it has a piano, so every day at breakfast, there's live piano music, which is really nice as well, okay? So it's a fantastic location for you to stay right in the heart of Chiado. And on the blog article, there are more options, a more complete guide to hotels here in Chiado. You can access the article on the blog either through the QR codes or by the link in the video description and in the first comment. And now we're heading to Bairro Alto, which is a neighboring district to Chiado, roughly in this area here. So, Baixa is here. Here is Chiado, and here is Avenida da Liberdade. So Bairro Alto is a neighborhood that's already in a higher part of the historic center, with lots of hills and narrow alleys. It's a place where it's a bit harder to walk around because of all the uphill and downhill streets, but it's the neighborhood with the best nightlife in Lisbon. So it has a really vibrant nightlife with lots of bars and restaurants, a very lively nightlife. There are two areas here that are best for staying in Bairro Alto. One closer to Praça, Luís de Camões, right on the border with Chiado, and the other in this area that's closer to Avenida da Liberdade, where accommodation number 5 is located. Here you'll find the São Pedro de Alcântara viewpoint, which offers an amazing view of the lower part of Lisbon, and here is the Gloria funicular, which you can take down to Avenida da Liberdade. So accommodation number 5 is in a great location, and you can also use ride-hailing apps to get to Baixa and other spots in the historic center as well. So let's take a look at accommodation number 5. It's the Independence Príncipe Real, rated 8.5 on Booking. It's a hostel with both private and shared rooms. It occupies these two mansions here, which are from the 19th century, okay? So it has private rooms, all right? It has a bar, a restaurant, and also a shared kitchen. So it's a really cool area. Look, these are the shared rooms. So an affordable option here for you to stay is in Bairro Alto. Now, in the article on the blog, there's a more complete list of hotels here in Bairro Alto. And now we're heading to Cais do Sodré, which is this area here on the banks of the Tagus River, and is also one of the most vibrant nightlife spots in Lisbon. And what's great about Cais do Sodré is that it has the Cais do Sodré train station, from where trains depart to Cascais and Estoril. The Cais do Sodré metro station is also located here. In just one stop, you reach Baixa Chiado station, and in 2 stops, Rocio station. So it's excellent as well, okay? And the Bica funicular is also here, which connects this area. Let me zoom. The Bica funicular connects in here to Chiado, okay? It's very close to Luís de Camões Square. So it's a fantastic location here, look. And in Cais do Sodré, there's Pink Street, which is this street right here. And it's one of the most vibrant nightlife areas in Lisbon with lots of bars, restaurants, and lively nightlife. And right here is the Mercado da Ribeira, which is now called Time Out Market Lisbon. It's the old market that was transformed into a food market with many dining options, which is also really cool here in Lisbon. Accommodation number 6, which is here, is attached to the Cais do Sodré train and metro stations. An amazing location. It's a little bit away from the noise of Pink Street, which gets pretty loud at night, okay? But at the same time, it's just a very short walk. And the great thing about staying here in Cais do Sodré is that it's a flat area, so you can easily walk to the Bairro district along a flat path, okay? without many hills. So let's check out accommodation number 6. It's the Sunset Destination Hostel, Zasteco rated 8.3 on Booking, and it's also a hostel. It also has both private and shared rooms. Look, it has a rooftop pool here with a view of the Tagus River. So here's a private room. Look, the pool. Here's the timeout market, right? Which is very close to the hostel. Here's the rooftop, right? With a pool. Here are the shared rooms. So the hostel is in a fantastic location, okay? It also has a shared kitchen. So it's a really great place to stay here in Calles do Sodre. To wrap up the neighborhoods in Lisbon's historic center, we're going to look at Alfama now. Let me reposition here. This is roughly the area. That is Alfama, which is the oldest neighborhood in Lisbon. It has a medieval origin, so it's full of narrow alleys, lanes, and hills. It's located on a hill. There are amazing views, lots of viewpoints, okay? Here is the São Jorge Castle, which is one of Lisbon's main attractions. It's one of the neighborhoods with the most fado houses, along with Bairro Alto, right? Bairro Alto and Alfama are the neighborhoods with the most fado houses in Lisbon. There are many bars and restaurants, and it's quite lively with tourists, but if you want to stay here, you need to be a bit careful because it's a neighborhood that's a little farther from the other parts of the historic center and has more difficult access due to the hills, narrow alleys, and lanes. There are many places where cars aren't allowed, so it's not recommended if you have a rental car. And also, ride-hailing apps like Uber don't reach here either, okay? So there are some transportation limitations. Metro stations also aren't that close, okay? But the number 28 tram, right? It passes through here. Yes, through Alfama. Hospedagem seat is right here in the heart of Alfama, right in the middle of the neighborhood, okay? It's in this area here. So this street has more restricted access for vehicles, okay? So you can't get here by ride-hailing app, see? Only on this street here. And on this street, the number 28 tram passes by. So it's very close to Hospedagem Setim, which is about 100 meters from here, okay? So let's take a look at Hospedagem Sete. And there's the Hotel Convento do Salvador with a score of 8.9 on Booking. It's a 3-star hotel located in one of the oldest convents in Lisbon. This building here was renovated, okay? But the Convento do Salvador was one of the oldest convents up in Lisbon. Later, it was turned into a hotel. So it has an inner courtyard, okay? It also has a bar, okay? Which stays open until nighttime. So it's for those who want to stay here, you know, in a more historic area, in the oldest historic neighborhood of Lisbon, right? With lots of narrow alleys, okay? A more medieval feel, you know? So it's one of the best hotels here with the best value for money in Alfama. So over on the blog article, we have a more extensive list of hotels in Alfama, and you can access it through the QR codes on the screen, as well as the link in the video description and in the first comment. And now we're going to move on to the transition from the historic center to the newer part of Lisbon. So here, this is Baixa, right? And here are some slightly newer neighborhoods. And here is Avenida da Liberdade, which kind of serves as this transition. It's already a century-old avenue inspired by the Champs-Élysées in Paris. So it was built to unlock, right? To open a path from the historic center to the urbanization of Lisbon's newer neighborhoods. And it's an avenue with a super pleasant atmosphere, lots of trees, many bars, restaurants, cafes, theaters, and cultural attractions. It's a more charming, sophisticated area with many shops, including designer stores. So it's a really nice environment to stay in and an amazing location. So if you stay here around Praça dos Restauradores, which is this square here, you're just a few steps away from Baixa. So here, look, is already Rocio Square, while the Rocio train station and the metro station. So it's about 100 meters from here, and you're already in the heart of Baixa. So it's a fantastic flat location, so you can easily walk around here through the Elevador da Gloria. You can access Bairro Alto and through the Restauradores metro station, which is on the blue line of the station is right here. In one stop, you reach Baixa Chiado station, and in 2 stops, Terreiro do Pacho. So it's also a sensational location to stay. And accommodation number 8 is very close to Praça dos Restauradores, about 100 meters away, and it's the Bessa Hotel Liberdade, rated 9.2, very well reviewed on Booking, 4 stars, and it's a boutique-style hotel with a more extensive infrastructure. Look, it has an indoor pool, a sauna, a gym, a bar, and a restaurant. Okay? So it features a unique design, making it an excellent boutique hotel option in this more charming part of Lisbon on Avenida da Liberdade, but still very close to the historic center and also to a metro station, so you can get around the city easily. And here, more in the middle of the Avenida da Liberdade area, okay, there's also a metro station here on the blue line, which takes you to the historic center. So accommodation number 9 is about 100 to 200 meters from the avenue, and it's a very budget-friendly place to stay. It's the room 00 Lisboa Hostel, which has a rating of 8.1 on Booking. So it's a hostel that also offers both private and shared rooms, and it's a very affordable hostel, okay? So the idea here is for you to stay in this area, right, which has a more pleasant atmosphere, both then in Lisbon and easy access by metro to the historic center. It's a hostel without much infrastructure, okay? It has a small shared kitchenette, which you can barely even call a kitchen. And there's a bar as well, okay? So it's a budget option here in Lisbon. And continuing here with our list, right, of neighborhoods and hotels to stay in Lisbon. We arrived here at Praça do Marquês, yes, from Pombal, which is this roundabout that is here. So a roundabout, yes, that is at this end of Avenida da Liberdade, here next to Parque Eduardo VII, yes, from Inglaterra. So this area here is a bit newer, with larger buildings, okay, already outside the historic center. It's a more residential area than a tourist one, residential and corporate with many offices. And this area has many hotels, but they're larger chain hotels with a business profile. And here you'll find hotels with even better infrastructure, pools, gyms, larger and more modern rooms, and the added advantage of having several metro stations that make it easy to get to the historic center. These hotels also tend to offer better value for money compared to staying in the historic center, where prices are more inflated. So here at Marquês do Pombal Square, there's a station on the blue metro line. So in just 2 or 3 stops, you'll reach the historic center. Now let's take a look at accommodation number 10. It has a metro station right here, see? The entrance is right at the hotel's doorstep. It's the HF Phoenix Lisboa. It has a score of 8.6 on Booking, and it's a 4-star hotel. So it's a larger hotel, okay? But it has more of an executive profile with bigger rooms, a really large hotel. It has a metro station right at its doorstep, which makes things a lot easier. It has a bar, a restaurant. Look, here's the Hotel T, here's the Marquês de Pombal, roundabout, and here's the end of Avenida da Liberdade, and here's Eduardo VII Park, which is one of the largest in Lisbon. So this hotel is for those who want a location close to the historic center, and hotels with the best value for money, okay? And still in this area right next door is the Avenidas Novas neighborhood, which is basically this whole area here. It's a very residential neighborhood, not touristy, but it has plenty of infrastructure, shops, bars, restaurants, supermarkets. The atmosphere is pleasant, good for walking, and safe, okay? And it has several stations from different metro lines, okay? So there are many hotels here in this area. On the blog article, there's a more complete list of hotels. And I marked accommodation number 11 here, which stands out because it's very close to the São Sebastião metro station. The São Sebastião station is the only one here in the Avenidas Novas neighborhood that has 2 metro lines allowing direct access without transfers, both to the historic center and to Lisbon Airport. So here you have the blue line, which gets you to the historic center in about 5 stops without any transfers, and the red line, which goes all the way to Parque das Nações and to Lisbon Airport, also without transfers. It's a longer route, okay? But it's the only one in this entire video and in this whole area that lets you reach both the historic center and the airport without having to transfer. There's also an El Corte Inglés nearby, which is a large and well-known department store with several dining options. And right next to accommodation 11, you already have access to the metro station, okay? Which makes things a lot easier. So, it's the Hotel Príncipe Lisboa with a 9.1 rating, a very good score on booking, a very affordable 3-star hotel, okay? Here, the prices are much more affordable than in the historic center. So the hotel is right here, and just across the street, there's already an entrance to the metro. It's a simple hotel, it doesn't have much infrastructure, it serves breakfast, but the restaurant doesn't serve meals, and it doesn't have a bar either. So it's a more budget-friendly option, okay? But it's very convenient for you to use the metro, whether you're going to the Mid-Nationik, the historic center, or to the Neche airport. So through the QR code, you can also access the link for Hotel 11, and the other hotels mentioned in this video. And Hotel 12 is located in the Arroyos area, which is this neighborhood right here, also very close to the Baixa district, okay? With easy access. And there's a metro line that runs through the neighborhood, which makes getting around easier. Here, in just 2 or 3 stops, you're already in Baixa. And the Arroyos neighborhood is a multicultural area, okay? With people from different nationalities, right? With people from various countries living here. There are also plenty of restaurants serving food from different parts of the world, but it's a slightly less charming style, more rundown area. This is where Avenida Almirante Reis is, where Hotel 12 is located. It's a commercial through traffic avenue, so it's a very budget-friendly area to stay in, but it's not as charming and pleasant as the area around Avenida da Liberdade, Praça Marquês de Pombal, and Avenidas Novas, okay? So the main attractions here in Arroyos include the Arroyos Market. This is where the luminous fountain is, and there are also several viewpoints here for you to enjoy the city's view. And here you have easy access to the Baija area, which is right here via the metro. So lodging number 12 is less than 100 meters from a metro station. And it's the new style Lisbon hotel. It's a budget 3-star hotel rated 8.9. So because it's in this area, it's a much more affordable hotel, okay? It's also a simple hotel without much infrastructure, but it's an option for you to stay here on Avenida Almirante Reis, which crosses the Arroyos neighborhood. It's a location that's very close to a metro station. And to wrap up, we're going much farther from the historic center to where the Parque das Nações is, which is this area here, and the most modern part of Lisbon. This area used to be a rundown industrial region, which was revitalized for the 1998 Expo and turned into a super modern part of Lisbon, full of attractions, and with lots of bars and restaurants as well. And it's very close to Lisbon Airport, which makes things much easier for those arriving or leaving by plane. I'll talk in a moment about the attractions here in Parque das Nações, but if your intention is to explore the touristy part of Lisbon, it's not really worth it because the metro ride from here to the historic center takes about 30 minutes and you have to transfer. There's no direct line, okay? So here in Parque das Nações, there are several attractions here. Look, it's located right on the banks of the Tagus River. This area here has lots of bars and restaurants. It's really cool, okay? Here, look, is one of the cable car stations, the Telecabine Lisboa. So it runs this route here, all right? With a beautiful view of the city. Also, the Lisbon International Fair is located here, which is the main venue for congresses and fairs in Lisbon. So a lot of events take place here. This is the MIO Arena, which is also the main arena used for concerts and events in Lisbon. A lot happens around here as well. Here you have the Lisbon Oceanarium, the Pavilion of Knowledge, which is a really cool science museum. And there are several squares, parks, a modern area with lots of trees, both residential and commercial, touristy, and with many bars and restaurants. Here is the Vasco da Gama shopping center, which is one of the main malls in Lisbon. And here is the Oriente station, which is a modern and multimodal station. It's a train station with trains to several cities in Portugal and also to Madrid. It's a bus terminal. It's the main bus terminal in Lisbon, also with buses to several cities in Portugal and Europe. And it's a metro station with, look, the red line passes through here, and in about 3 or 4 stops you reach Lisbon Airport, and it continues on to the historic city center. It takes around 30 minutes, but you do need to transfer Accommodation 13 is right here, next door, right? Just a few steps from Oriente Station, the Vasco da Gama shopping center, and also from the Mel Arena. So it's a really fantastic location. And it's the Tivoli Oriente Lisboa Hotel, rated 8.6 on Booking. It's a 4-star hotel, okay? So in this area, there are bigger, more modern hotels, all right? Look, a view of the Tagus River. Here's the hotel, look. So it's just a few steps from Oriente Station, which is a very modern station, okay? It's a metro, bus, and train station. So spacious rooms. The hotel has good infrastructure. It has a bar, a restaurant, a gym, and an indoor pool, all right? So here in the Parque das Nações area, there are several options for bigger and more modern hotels. So through the QR codes on the screen, you can check out this list of hotels we've shown throughout the video, and there are also 5 very cheap hotels in Lisbon. And over on the blog article, you'll find a bigger list of hotels in each of the main areas to stay in Lisbon. I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care and see you in the next video.